Rishika, what I wanted you to tell is the background behind our discussion. Why you had this question, what made you to ask this question, and then come to the topic. That's why I said give a background, because others may not know all on a sudden why Shankara came for discussion. Yeah.
So my father studied I tried to look up to my father's Sri Adi Shankaracharya.
Where did you get Nirvana Shatakam?
Nirvana Shatakam was like a sloka, so I wanted to.
Where did you get it? I am asking. Who had sent whose?
My father's friend, he sent a YouTube.
Somebody's YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah. That is only chanting or with meaning? Okay, okay. So you have not searched Dr. TPS Nirvana Shatakam.
I saw the video.
Okay. So there are two or three are there. Yeah. Good.
So then when I started following Sri Adi Shankaracharya, I saw the blog. Then from that I have collected few doubts.
Okay. So that is the context for asking questions. Okay. So what are your questions?
So your meeting said that Sri Adi Shankaracharya he went to Himalaya.
Yeah.
He went to Guru. So what's the Guru's name? Sri Acharya.
Govinda Padar.
Acharya.
Yeah. Acharya is only a title, like different titles are given. One of the title is Acharya. His name is Govinda Padar. Actually, he met Govinda Padar in which place? Is it Badrinath? Yeah, we don't know exactly, because most of the informations about Shankaracharya is not totally documented. We know it is in Himalaya. Okay. So that is somewhere closer to which place is what we have to say. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. What is Buddhism as far as you know? Okay. There are philosophy students like Atira. She must be able to expand. What is Buddhism? Okay, now, wait. That is where I want a philosophical, more interior to go. When you mentioned India, it is following. Where in India is following? Okay, in China it is following. Tibet it is following. Japan it is following. Sri Lanka it is following. Thailand it is following. Is it same Buddhism or not? Yeah. So assume Buddhism was only one. What is degeneration? So it goes into its dilutions in different branches, so that it loses its identity. That is what is degenerated, right? Correct. Understood, Rishika? Why am I saying? When There are different varieties of Buddhism. Do you think Buddha propagated 3 varieties? No. When people accepted, they started looking at it in different directions. Okay. So there is something called Vajrayana. There is something called Mahayana. And there is another called Theravada. There are 3 different classic, the 3 paths. So some of them believe only the Vajrayana. Some other place they believe only Mahayana. The Theravada is where the Sri Lankan people believe. So when you have different branches like Burma, Thailand, all are Theravadis. The Tibet is basically Vajrayana. That is why you see fighters, na? Tibet. Vajram. Vajram is fighting actually. Weapons. But Buddham Sharanam Gacchami did see Buddha fighting. Have you seen Buddha with magics and all that, or lot of jumping? When we talk about the Buddhist, we know the monks are there. They will have a specific dress and then do like fighting, right? Yes or no? So the China people, the Mahayana is more, if at all, if something is balanced there. It is not there. If at all something is balanced there, I am saying. That is why they are able to run away from that place. Otherwise, they would have fought with the Chinese people. Got it? So there are different. That is why the original concept of Buddhism would have been degenerated. The Buddhist thoughts, whatever teaching, over even Theravadas, they believe that Buddhism will stay for 5,000 years. But in that country itself, if you look at it, the Buddhism is coming down now. They think that it will not stay for longer years. The degenerated dharma itself is degenerated. Now in this context, when you talk about, immediately you jump, why did I mention about Buddhism when I talked about Shankaracharya in the article? Because we know Shankaracharya, there are 2 versions, either before Buddha or after Buddha. Believing that it is after Buddha, that is what we believe today. Shankara also had similar classes. We classified people into 4 different mutt, different places. We established his ashrams. In which each of these ashram he had different people taking care of different Vedas. Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, North, East, West, South, Atharva Veda also. The 4 Vedas, 4 different mutt in different parts of India. The classification was done by himself. And he made the Hinduism to establish the thoughts when Buddhism was actually growing. Jainism was growing, Buddhism was growing. Who are those people who turned into Buddhist and Jainist? They are traditionally the Hindu believers. So when they changed into Buddhism, Shankaracharya came into picture and then he re-established Hinduism. That's why Shankara is considered as one of the greatest personalities for Hinduism. So in that context only, that was the right time, because in Buddhism itself there were different classes, different thoughts. They are united it is difficult to again re-establish. So it would have become one of the best criteria for him to work. That is in the context I mentioned that small word. You may not see that word when you search. It may not be there. Degenerated Buddhism will not be there sometime. I used it in that context. That's only what I'm saying. Okay, good. Yeah. Yeah, the Advaitic Vedanta is actually the Vedic Dharma. Veda is knowledge. Vedic Dharma is teaching. Advaitam is Dvaitam is two. Advaitam is there are no two. Why somebody should tell there are no two? Somebody can tell there are no three, there are no four also, no? Why only two is not there was told Advaitam. Dvaitam is not there. There are no two. What is two? One is me and another one is God. There is a God outside me. That concept is what is generally people taught. There is lot of energy in the world. Energy is Prakriti. So Panchabhuta is there, 5 elements are there. Then can I say that 5 is not there, only 1 is there? That's also possible, right? The way I consume is my energy. How do I consume? A compound way. So I can look at the world as me and something else outside. Bhagavan says, Adi Shankara, he is also called Bhagavan. He is also called Bhashyakara because he gave interpretations to most of the writings. He is called Bhashyakara. So some people will call him only Bhashyakara. Some people will call him as Adi Shankara. Some people will call him only Acharya. So he was a proponent of, he was propagating, he was only advocating Advaitam. There are no two. Veda Andam, the end of knowledge, is where you will realize there are no two. In the beginning you will see there is God and me. When you know more and more about God, you will understand you don't have to go and search outside. The God is inside. So first you start with the two but end with the one. That is what is called Advaita Veda Andam, the end of knowledge. When you learn everything, you understand there are no two, there is only one. That is the beauty of Advaita Vedantam prescribed by Shankara.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is also mention of Arjuna.
Yeah. Generally, when we hear the word Arjuna, we immediately will know Arjuna is who? One among the Panchapandavas, right? Yeah. In Mahabharata or any of the mythological or Puranas, Itihasas, same name is used for multiple people. Okay. In Veda itself, the Puranic story, not the Itihasas, not in Mahabharata. Mahabharata is a recent last one. Arjuna is not there in Ramayana, right? Ramayana is older. Rama is older. Krishna is the younger one. Maybe lakhs of years difference. Arjuna is there in the Veda itself. In Veda, it describes about different places, different capitals, different cities, different kingdoms. And during those time, there was who? One Arjuna. And that Arjuna is, what is his full name? Yeah, he is supposed to be one with close to Surya. If you look at sun has got many rays. So each ray is considered as one hand. So Arjuna with Sahasra Bhujam, Sahasra Bahu. Bahu means hand, shoulder. He is also called Sahasra Arjuna. He is called the Kartavirya Arjuna. He has got Viryam, power of multiple people. That is why it is called. He is one of the biggest warrior, and during Dattatreya is another character. Dattatreya is not during Mahabharata nor Ramayana time. Okay, so during that time, that was somewhere close to Narmada river. Kartavirya Arjuna's palace was close to. You heard about Mahishmati. Yeah, Mahishmati. That Mahishmati is very close to Narmada. Narmada is in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, so you can locate those places. It is entirely different from the Pandavas, Arjuna's place. So don't get confused. It is not a Pandava Arjuna. This was a traditional old Vedic time, the Vedic era, a Chakravarti, a Samrat. Arjuna was never. Arjuna was not a king. Arjuna was only a brother of a king. So otherwise, this Arjuna, Kartavirya Arjuna, is a Chakravarti by himself. Got it? Yeah. See now, why this Kartavirya Arjuna did I mention in that article? No. I am asking, did I mention that in the article, Kartavirya Arjuna? No, I don't think. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The next question was, where did Shankara disappear? Yeah. That Gufa means cave only. Gufa, Gufa. In our mother tongue we say Guha, no? Sanskrit also it is called Guha. Gufa in Arabic also is, I think you have to check, similar to that. Pronunciation can be slightly different. Kodambi is there. Do you have any addition? What is Gufa cave? You are muted. Srini, you are muted. So it is believed that Shankara went into Rudra cave because he was part of Rudra. Rudra is Shiva. That is close to Kedarnath. There is an underground meditation cave. Even today it is there. It is part of, I think, Mountaineering Institute or something now. That is part of government system now. Okay, so that cave was there, and it's also believed there is a river, Mandagini river is there, I think. The Kedarnath. Srini has something to add? I just saw Srini is there. Yeah, that is what I'm saying. Similar words you can see in many different languages. Right? A hidden place, a place to hide. All that is also called Gufa. Could look at dictionary. It will be nice to look at it and then find out different names and different translations, different words in most of the languages. Yeah.
was Sri Adi Shankaracharya.
That is what is believed. Yeah. Actually, Shankaracharya's timing, Shankaracharya's life history, when did he take birth, where, all that is confusing. Whether it is one Shankaracharya, multiple Shankaracharya, whether Adi Shankara is one, there is another Shankaracharya later, whether Shankaracharya is no one who was before Buddhism or after Buddhism. But generally what is accepted is, if you look at Malayalam calendar, for example, this is 1197, Parameshwarji. We have Malayalam expert also here. Yeah, 1196 is the Kerala era. So it is believed that Shankaracharya started Malayalam year, calling all the people together and decided we need to have a Kerala year. So if you look at Kerala year, you know Shankara lived during that time. This is what my guru told me. So that started deciding this is the year for Kerala, and which happened in Kollam. Kollam is a place which is Koilon. That is why we are calling Malayalam year as Kolla Varsham. Varsham means year. So 100% Shankara was 1200 years old only. Understood? So 2020 minus 1200. So you will approximately get 800 during that period. And there are a lot of literature which says he lived only 32 years. So they adjusted some time and then said this is where Shankara. Otherwise, I don't think there was real documentation as far as there are a lot of confusions on this. Is it true? No, myself and Srini went together to Kaladi also. Long time back. Srini is joining from Canada. So he is a authentic researcher on Bharatavarsha. So actually, who started Bharatavarsha? It is Shankara. That rejoining of Indian Hinduism together with all that part, Japan, China, all that Buddhist people, once upon a time was Bharatavarsha, right? So re-establishing Bharatavarsha was one of the activity of Shankara. See what a coincidence, we were discussing about Shankaras and we have an action item on this Sunday to discuss, and all on a sudden from heaven Rishika came immediately, started asking questions about Shankaracharya. Yeah. Yeah, Lotus brand. Yeah, you understood Rishika, the relevance of Rishika in Shankaracharya's reincarnation now. Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
not sure how to pronounce it, but what's the meaning of that?
What is that? Huh? No, I know. It is Prasthanatrayam. You wanted Prasthanatrayam, right?
Yes.
You read it once again slowly as you read. Don't tell me Prasthanatrayam now. Yeah. Prasthanam. Prasthanam means, Prasthanam is like an ideology, like a philosophy. It's like an establishment. It's like an organization. It's like a thought process. Trayam means three. Prasthana Trayam. It's like three different ideology, theology, three different thought process, three different theories, three different set of literature. Theory will become, ideology will become literature, correct? So three different set of literature. Which are they? When you read Bhagavad Gita, you will see at the end of the chapter, generally they will mention all the Veda, Upanishads, everything become famous because of Bhagavad Gita's chanting. Probably. Right? Because most of the famous textbook in Hinduism is what? Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita end they will say, what they will say? Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre. Okay. So what is important? Brahma Vidya is important. And what is Bhagavad Gita? Sarvo Upanishato Gavo. The whole Upanishads fixed together. From that what as a milk is taken. Upanishad is the cow. The milk is the Gita, Bhagavad Gita. And the milk boy is Krishna. The calf is the Arjuna. That's how the comparisons are given. So Upanishad is one set of ideology. Second set of ideology is all the Brahma Sutras, which is more like Nyaya, Vaisheshika, lot of Yukti, logical thinking. Some part is there. If you look at second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, totally Brahma Sutra. Okay. The Upanishad question answer style, lot of explanations about Veda, you can see throughout Bhagavad Gita. And Bhagavad Gita itself. So three, which are the three? Prasthanatrayam. How do you pronounce it? Prasthanatrayam. Yeah, Trayam means three, Prasthanam means ideology or textbook or class of thinking. So three classes of thinking. One is Bhagavad Gita. Okay, that is actually something to be chanted like a sadhana, keep on repeating. You can see some people keep on repeating Bhagavad Gita, though they don't understand any meaning. Okay, they will only hear that. They don't even understand the meaning. That's okay, one part. Upanishad is asking question, understanding the meaning, ask why. So Bhagavad Gita has to go with Upanishad, lot of question and answer. And then answer has to be given logically, that is Brahma Sutra. So all the three together makes it full. Prasthanatrayam is the complete knowledge. Upanishad itself can be multiple. Don't think that this is the end of three books. Upanishad itself can be hundreds of texts. Okay, there are plenty of subdivisions. Bhagavad Gita itself is not an individual text. It's part of Mahabharata. Brahma Sutra itself is not a single entity. It is actually part of Vedanta. part of Vedanta Shastra, where systematically it explains, systematically, logically, what is there in Upanishad and what is there in Gita can be seen in Brahma Sutra, but explained logically. So Vedantam, that is the end. So Shankara used all the three. There are not Shankara alone. You can see Madhavacharya. Madhavacharya is one person who wrote a lot of Bhashyam for the, along with Shankara, you can see, call them. There is some small YouTube video which I created out of interest for all the UPSC people, for those who want to write IAS and all that. You can look at the title Yoga Sutra, Dr. TPS. In my YouTube it is there, which I explained Madhavacharya's contribution, Ramanuja's contribution, and explained a little bit of these three, like Brahma Sutra and Upanishads. Veda, Vedanta, relationship with the Brahma Sutra, the time in between different rishis, acharyas who give commentaries on these also are explained. You can look at it. Yeah. Yeah, that is also many textbooks. Viveka Chudamani is one. Yeah, all that, what is that is, that's why I said it's not one single text, it's a set of textbook. There are a lot of different languages, translations, different versions, they add all of them together into that. Yeah. Yeah. This is see, Teyyam is the art form in only northern Karnataka and Kerala. Probably the partition came later, so it all totally became to Kerala. Some of the traditional forms of similar to Teyyam can be seen in Karnataka. Different versions can be seen in South Kerala. But later part, today what we know is only in Malabar. Right? Otherwise, Dakshayagam is also like almost like Teyyam. That's why I said in northern Karnataka. Teyyam generally is a form of God who gave incarnation or form or style very close to nature in the forest. So inside the forest, how do you show the power of a human? These sort of decorations are part of it. With these decorations, they show the power. And one of the power which they show is we can also jump into fire. We can climb a tree. That's why not fire alone. They climb a coconut tree. They also jump into fire. They use the weapon to hit themselves and they don't get harm. They have got the kiridam which may be 20 feet high, but still they know how to balance it. They can overturn themselves with a big umbrella around their head. It's impossible for normal human being in the normal sense also. They do all such gymnastics. Correct? That is to show that you have more power than human. One of the basic principle, even temperature which is hot or cold, to affect your layer of skin, it needs more than 1/7 of a second time. So if you walk faster, one step, if you keep it immediately, you take it out, you don't feel it, the temperature. Understood? And definitely those people traditionally were never having footwear. So under the feet is totally dead skin. Very, very strong dead skin. Don't try when Teyyam is doing like that, I can also jump into fire, my leg will get burned. You understood? So one is fast movement. Second one is their legs are full of dead skins. And that has got a layer which is like an insulation. Nothing will happen to you. If you walk like that for 40 years without footwear, you will also get that ability. Yeah.
And then there's this video posted on Shankaracharya. So they are saying that he's an avatar.
See, people have given him as Avatara Purusha. You can do that. Even your guru, whomever you like, you can call them. When you have a small child, you will call them Krishna. You are like a Krishna for me, right? Understood? Yeah. Bhagavan Bhashyakaran Shankaran himself said, I am not one person who can describe Bhagavan because he is indescribable. He actually asked pardon to Shiva also, saying that one of my mistake was trying to describe you, trying to understand you. Appaya Dikshidhar also told, I also quoted this many times. Yeah. See, they were all Shankar. Many of the head of chief of Shankara Mutt, they themselves are called Shankaracharyas. The designation itself is Shankaracharya. So they will call it as 100th Shankaracharya, 150th Shankaracharya. You can call them like that. %. They all write names with the Shankaracharya, name was Shankaracharya only. No, that is why we keep calling Adi Shankaracharya, the Bhashyakara, specifically for the Shankaracharya, real Shankaracharya, we call him as Adi Shankaracharya. Adi means the first, the beginning Shankaracharya. That is not to get confused. Otherwise, most of the chief of the Mutt, Shankara Mutt themselves are called, and I don't know whether the chief sits in which place, Shankara Mutt chief. Srini, the headquarters of Shankara Mutt. Yeah, that's true. That's controversial. Now the Adi Shankara's headquarters itself is not where Shankaracharya's Mutt he established, right? See, the 4 Mutt which established by Shankaracharya is not the place where near Chennai. Where is that place? Rishika, have you been there? The headquarters of Shankara Mutt is not considered among the Shankaracharya's Mutt themselves. But they claim that is the headquarters. That's what I'm saying. So, but one of the best claim is from these people where Shankara himself did not declared as one of the Mutt. The others anyway, they were Mutt and they had different traditions. But the headquarters, they write, this was, I am the 10th Shankara, 15th Shankara, like that number is written from year to year to year. That itself is not known really. So each one of them are called Shankaras. Adi Shankara is entirely the prime original Shankara who has written for all of us the Nirvana Shatakam, which you started with, right? Many people write it as Nirvana Shatakam, not Shatakam. 10 is not there, Shatam is not there, 100 is not there, only 6 is there. Shat means 6, Shatakam. Shivoham Shivoham, which I explained 2 times in my satsang. It is there already, verse by verse I have explained. Okay. Bhajagovindam is one of the most famous, probably most interesting, which can be learned by anyone who understands the difference between the materialistic and the Vedantic, Advaitic, spiritual, Atmiya life. If you want to understand separation, Bhajagovindam is the best. Because Rishika also understand little bit Malayalam, and Athira also can understand. You must listen to 31 days of class by N.N. Menon. It is there in my YouTube. It's in Malayalam. I don't think anybody in this world today is able to explain that well. He has explained so nicely. Don't miss that if you can. Those who can follow Malayalam, that is one of the best. I was editing it and putting, so I learned Bhajagovindam in detail with that. Almost 1 month course. 1 sloka, half slokas, like that he took, started explaining 31 slokas. All of them are not by Bhagavan Shankara also. Only 12 plus, maybe to 14 slokas are with. But the rest of the things are all added by his disciples, Shishyas. But they are also very beautiful, almost like Shankaracharya. See, a good teacher becomes good only when their disciples, their students are also equally good. So Shankara was a good teacher. His students are also equally good. Another best book which probably is Saundarya Lahari. Saundarya Lahari is a great contribution by Shankara. Second great contribution can be Bhajagovindam. Bhagavad Gita interpretation by Shankara, authentic, no question at all anyway. And Bhajagovindam is one. Nirvana Shatakam is also beautiful because less number of sloka, it is very good. Madhur Panchakam, I did that during the last 1 year. I also looked at Madhur Panchakam, describing the greatness of mother, his mother. Not Saundarya Lahari is Devi, Parvati, Shakti, but Panja is only for his own biological mother at the time of death, before death, as soon as he reached back to Kaladi to see his mother. That is the time when he wrote. That also I explained once in one of the satsang. So there are maybe more than 72 authentic works of, great works of, works cannot be told, great works of Shankara. Each one of them are really great. Okay. So reuniting Hinduism by lot of writings, lot of devotional, meditative, they are all, each one of them are meditative slokas. Devotion is there, meditation is also there. Bhakti is there, Dhyanam is there, Samadhi is also there. Beautiful books, maybe probably around most of the major Upanishads, major Advaita Vedanta philosophical books are from Shankara only. So he is the authority for all the philosophy people. If anybody has to learn Indian philosophy, they must always keep a book of Shankara. That's why great philosophers always refer back to Shankara. I remember reading Shankaracharya's interpretations translated in English textbooks, which I used to buy and read. Those days, internet, Google was not there. I couldn't understand words' meanings, and I don't think any dictionaries will agree. Dictionaries are good enough to explain. Can you imagine? English dictionaries are not good enough to understand English. And then I purchased a philosophy dictionary book, the Dictionary of Philosophy, the great philosophical dictionary. I don't know whether Dr. Jayanti Sahu, professor of philosophy, has got Dictionary of Philosophy in your library. Yeah. The traditional people, library people would have purchased and kept. I also have philosophy, Dictionary of Philosophy. So when you want to understand philosophical words, don't look at the normal dictionary, philosophical dictionary. Got it? Now you can Google and find everything. One place, everything, right? You are all lucky people. And I'm so glad where people like Rishika and all is asking such questions, right? So at least know the names. What? Saundar Lahari, Bhajagovindam. All, see, his beauty was, there are Vishnu, Shiva, Shakti, and Surya, Ganesha, 5 different branches of puja vidhis. He covered all of them. He has got scriptures, slokas written, added to all of them. Okay, so Shiva, Shakti, Vishnu, everyone. He has got written on everyone. Bhajagovindam is one of the beautiful scripture. Yeah. You can buy in any shop. Any shop. Any shop you can buy Dictionary of Philosophy. But now not required. Google is enough. Yeah, may not be there. Kannur is on a small place, no? Yeah. What is that Srinivas wanted to add? Five deities. Yeah, though the pujaris are supposed to have some caste in which kulam they belong to become a sannyasi higher than that kulam and caste take birth can be where anywhere. That's also great Shankara's contribution, right? See, to do puja you need to have a cross belt and all that, but higher than that is always Rishi, Swami, Sannyasi, who can carry God in themselves. For that, he said anybody can become. Different community, that's what I'm saying. So he himself advocated knowledge sharing different from the rituals. Rituals can be based on different castes, but knowledge acquisition, there is no barrier. That is one of the greatest contribution of Shankaracharya. The young generation should understand all this, because knowledge sharing you can become the highest position. The highest position comes only when you get knowledge. irrespective of which class, which caste you belongs to. So when somebody throw finger on you saying that no caste system, you must take this, and then tell them this is what it is. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, yes, Dr. Jayanti.
He was only talking about Brahma Maya relationship.
Yeah.
And how he of God would decide to possess regarding the God. And about the rights and duties.
See, you have to reach to a level where you can understand this. I don't think we should not teach a young child about the poetic beauty of probably no Wordsworth in the LKG, UKG, right? We have to teach them small classes what is acceptable to them. So Shankara knew where to get this development happen. If I don't value my own tradition which I have in terms of rituals, if I don't understand different casteism, that's why I said through knowledge you can go beyond the rituals. But to do ritual, you are based on your caste. Everybody need not get knowledge and get into higher. But assume we all believe that by birth we have got a gene. I keep on telling all the time, 50% of what you have is your by birth from your gene, from your parents. 40% which you get from your surroundings. Maybe 10% is what you have got your own ability to learn. You are put into different environment, you can gain more, mostly. But then assume that somebody has taken birth. Traditionally, when we had all the villages created, we wanted different caste people. We want barber there, we want carpenter there. Today only we have got no problem of transportation. Earlier transportation was a big problem. People cannot migrate from one place to another place. So whenever we have a village, we ask people to come and settle there. We need one barber, one carpenter at least, one goldsmith, one blacksmith. Correct? So the caste system by which whatever job you are doing, continue to do that. So I am sure that time, when Shankara's time, he was very adamant in this creation, which was not a part of his job, which was part of expansion of villages. When population increased, we want different villages at different places. In my own village, there is a place called Kudiyanmala. Kudiyanmala means those people who came and stayed from outside. If you look at traditionally, I heard from my childhood also, they gathered a lot of people, Brahmins, supporting staff for the temple, carpenters, architects who can survey land. You can have people who can keep accounts. Different castes, different subcaste. Everybody was brought in inside, so that the village becomes self-sufficient. That was ruler's job. That was landlord's job, to gather everybody. So I'm sure such strict discipline was that during that time. So Shankara also did not topple, worked against that rule. He agreed that it has to be there. So Shankara was one who was very firm in ritual. It has to follow. Otherwise society will be in imbalance. What Shankara's contribution? Shankara's contribution should be not looking at how he looked at ritual, how he looked at Brahmins caste and all that. Shankara was a great philosopher who taught the world the Bharatiya Advaita Vedantam to make people to realize the Samadhi. That will come only for people with the highest principles which are propagated by Brahma Sutra, Upanishads, Vedanta, for which you cannot compare a practical life system and that. And I don't think Shankara stayed in one place and then propagated. He wandered around whole India. So definitely in whole India there was no single system. It was multiple system. If he was against these multiple system for a social reformation, I am 100% sure he would have never become a philosopher. His contribution is only knowledge propagation, writing books, talking to the so-called thinkers, and then having few disciples under him to whom he can propagate. I don't think he has traveled and talked to all the common public. He was giving knowledge to those who require knowledge. Everybody has to play their role. I am not a person who is into any social service. I don't do any commitment of doing social service because I want only people who want to learn something from me. That's it. That's my idea. Always when me and Srini discuss, I keep talking. I cannot even run one organization in my life from now onwards, because in that I will have to give job to different people at different level, right? That means I am designating one as a cashier, one as a manager, one as marketing person. I cannot do that. I am segregating. I am giving rituals to different people. I don't do that. I don't even go to temple for that sake. Understood? So Shankara 100% would not have. See, it keeps saying no, Vedanta go Brahmanaha. By virtue, he himself was a Brahmin, but not for rituals. He established much, but I don't think he would have looked at the establishment by himself. He would have asked his disciples to establish. That thought process he had. He would not have managed a mutt by himself. That is not expected from him. Right? Agnir Devo Dvijadina. When you do ritualistic thing, you are a Brahmin, because Agni is Bhagavan for you. I don't think Shankara kept Agni as his Bhagavan. Agnir Devo Dvijadinam, Muninam Hridi Devadam. For a Maharshi, his Atma, Hridaya Guhara Madhya Kevalam Brahma Matram. I keep on repeating it. His Hridaya, inside he keeps Bhagavan. So for Shankara, where is Bhagavan? Inside is his Hridaya. Why he should do external puja of, have you seen Shankara firing a small lamp and then doing praying there? I don't think. I don't think you will see a place where Shankara is keeping fire and with an oil lamp and then doing namaskaram to that. Because for him, knowledge inside Hridayam, creativity, Brahma, all the three Bhagavans are inside him. Agnir Devo Dvijadina Muninam Hridi Devadam. And Sarvatra Viditatmana. Everywhere he has seen God. But everybody cannot see that. So what should I start with? Vigraham Sulpa Buddhina. For less brain people, common people, those who don't understand this to that level immediately, what should I do? I must give them temple rituals. So he was never against temple rituals, but I don't think he was propagating temple rituals. But he gave the vidhanam, the way in which you have to do these prayers and rituals, because he knows that is how people will accept. That is the first level. Then they will go to second level. Because to understand God, one of the method is bhakti. All these temples have contributed a lot, and all the temples were not just bhakti places. It was also places for learning. They were all learning centers. They were all food centers, because learning doesn't happen without food. So what he did was, he had Murajapam, continuous chanting of Veda mantras. The Veda Padashala was associated with most of the temples. Now we have Vadakkanath temple in Thrissur. Diagonally opposite to that, there is a small place with people who can stay. Even today, that Veda Mantra Japam is happening. Luckily, first lecture of mine in the whole spiritual Vedic lecture started in that mutt only, which was established by Shankara for propagating Veda Mantras. And those students were my first listeners on this talk. So Shankara was, today also they do only japas, and that japa starts in the childhood. That time you cannot talk about Vedantic philosophy, but as they grow, I am 100% sure they will understand different aspects. The same sloka have to be understood in different style, so they understand the highest aspect of that sloka. That's what happens.
Yes, sir. If yes, sir, you are absolutely right. But that could be the maybe the need of the hour when Sankara was there.
No, even today, Jayanti, nobody can join post graduation in the beginning. They have to undergo LKG, UKG, grade 1, grade 2. Our problem is people are only KG Bhaktas. They don't reach to the PG philosophy knowledge level. That is where our problem. That is what we are trying to propagate. Maybe they would have discontinued KG Bhakti, discontinued in the pre-primary Bhakti, but then we will pick them up and then start giving open schooling program and then make them little bit of knowledgeable in something so that they will contribute more to the next generation. I am 100% sure Srini must be happy see young people, like we have a philosophy student from Lady Sri Ram College here. We have a philosophy professor here. We have a student from Abu Dhabi who is only 8th grade, no? Now jumping to 9th grade, Rishika? 8th grade, you can see.
I just want to add to what Dr. Yashkumar has said. Even, I mean, but I think wrong there are three fundamental values. One is not there is zero around all in Ashadu. So, Pitrupa is you have to marry around property, and not become a sannyasi. That's something there. You have to complete all the nature is for them. So, what is needed to sustain and balance the nature property? Once you have the water tanks, one, and the third level, I have to put has to be carried out from the This is what is called as the when you come to the when you have history of everybody, that is why Shankara also cannot read out of the mother connection and common place. This is interpretation of our text. Keeping in view of the concept. So that is called Advaita interpretation, Advaita interpretation, and Adhyasana. The Advaita interpretation comes from roughly two pieces of law. So that is where, therefore, people are saying it's an interpretation. So after doing all the things, different technology is the principle of physics. Also, there are so many things to go together. This is even understand what is what by the okay. So, That's why when he describes the mother and father devotee, he describes it such a and nobody can the Shankara's description of Mother Devotee the doctor absolutely no question. And none of them can be understood in Greek. He knows everything in such a way, but who understands it? That is the fundamental phenomenon that no person like Shankara can perform. Because along with the it has been defined and developed of this part, it is thought level of and he established this technology most primary.
See, the same Shankara who became ritualistic for his mother's ritual, he reached there, or maybe same Shankara who wrote and described Devi in full form, when it comes to that same what she wanted is Nirvana Shatakam, he talks about Nirvikalpam, Nirakaram, no Rupam, nothing is there for him, right? Na pranam, na vayu, nothing is there. Now Panchakosha is not there. Earlier he was describing every spare part of the body by body and the beauty of the body. Later he says even Panchakosha is not there. So cannot reach that level all on a sudden. You have to slowly grow higher and higher. That is essential. That comes only when you think about Chidananda Rupam, Chidananda Rupam. That is the meditation level, highest samadhi level.
Thank you, sir.
Na punyam, na papam. If na punyam, na papam, na saukhyam, na dukkham, everything is not there, why did he go and do his mother's ritual? But that is, as a son, his duty is that. I may not go to temple and do puja, but I have to light lamp in the house so that my son will understand. I don't have to read LKG book, but for my son to read LKG book, I have to read LKG book. Otherwise, how do I teach LKG to my son? Understood? So based on your level, you will have to go up and down. That is essential.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, sir. And would be even like the explanation of
Everything. Yes. Yeah. Good. Good. Good enough? Rishika, any more question? So you re-listen to that Nirvana Shatakam and then go to that YouTube in which the postings of Brahma Vidya, Yoga Shastram and all are explained. Small short. Yeah. Good enough. Thank you, Srini. Anything more to add? Otherwise, we will call it a day. See you Sunday.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Namaskar. Glad you're all there. Emma also joined. Namaskar.